What's going on, guys? Kai here, back with your Legends of Neverland video. It's been a while, so I'm going to do remakes of some of my older videos that have changed from things being added to the game, things being different. Heck, the first thing on the list here wasn't even in the game when I did my last Stats Explained video. I'm going to be walking you through all the stats, what they mean, things you need to know about each stat, as well as the best places to get them. So starting with the very top, Dragon Force. So Dragon Force you're primarily going to get from Dragon Tomb Abyss. It is the Dragon game mode. You have to increase your exploration in the Dragon area to unlock it, and then as you go through Dragon Tomb, which is going to require other things, but the thing is you go through Tomb and it's going to give you Dragon Force. You also get Suppression, which is another thing we'll talk about later on, but the idea here is it's effectively damage increase and damage reduction that happens after everything is said and done. We've never had the exact formula for damage, but at bare minimum, it is attack minus defense equals damage that hits the HP, or shield if they have a shield. At base, it is attack minus defense equals damage, and then there are pluses and minuses that go into play during that. What we believe happens after extensive testing is all the pluses are added to your attack, and all the minuses are added to their defense, and then you do attack minus defense. So all the things that will increase your damage gets added to your attack. All the things that would reduce your damage is added to their defense. Cancel out, that is damage. That is the simplest way to say it. Obviously, there is some more stuff in the back end that happens, but to just give you a base idea of what should be happening. Obviously, skills, fairy skills, pet skills will then do different amounts based on your attack. It'll be like 1200% plus a flat number. That is 1200% of your attack plus that flat number. You really got to go through Dragon Tomb. Dragon Tomb will kind of hard lock you at some levels, requiring you to have some suppression to go higher. To get higher suppression, you're going to need to do Dragon Research, or the cheat code is to have Nightshade at Rainbow 3. That's going to give you 240 suppression, allowing you to get a foothold in the door. As far as HP, attack, and defense, I just explained how that works. The main places you're going to get if you were to look at the breakdown of your attack, HP, defense, it's primarily going to come from mounts, fairies, clothes. Just from someone who's been playing a while, has just been doing all events that come along. If they just look at a breakdown of how am I getting all my attack, how am I getting all my defense, how am I getting all my HP, it's going to be mainly those things. Obviously, you'll get some bits and pieces from other sources, but that's primarily where the biggest chunks are going to be. Then, let me make sure this is the whole thing. There we go. Then we have the second page, which is going to require the third page to help you out here. But you'll see next to crit rate, crit immunity, block chance, and break rate, you'll see the little question mark there. And to show you what that looks like is right here. When attacking a target of the same level, there is a chance of percent to deal percent damage. And those two numbers have equations to figure them out, which is slightly explained on the bottom. The higher the level, the lower the crit rate converted from crit attribute. It's going to say the same thing from crit immunity, block, and break. Your level is part of the equation. Don't ask me why, but your level is part of the equation. So every time you level up, you lose roughly 2% of the stat, of the percentage. So if you are at 200% crit, you don't lose 2% and go to 198%. You lose 2% of total, which would be 4%, and you would go down to 196%. So leveling up can be detrimental for that, but what they kind of add towards you is, you'll see right here at the bottom, the real crit rate is influenced by the enemy crit immunity rate and level, which means you do have a higher chance when you're hitting someone of a lower level. If it's that same 2% cutoff, we have no idea, but that's what we do know. And then why it's saying 160% right there, that is going to be crit damage. You'll see on this character sheet, we're looking at 10% crit damage. So base is 150% crit damage, plus whatever your crit damage bonus is. Which, so to get more crit immunity, block, break, you're primarily going to get those, I wrote it up here, from crystals, IO, inscription order. Not really the ones you want to be going for with that, but those have high numbers of them. Equipment, class advancements are going to be a big thing, especially when we get down here towards the bottom with the ignore block down towards here. So to give you a thing, crit is crit rate minus crit immunity rate of your opponent, and that ends up being the damage you deal. Obviously, you'll crit rate minus their crit immunity is your chance to crit. If you do end up critting, it's going to be your crit damage minus their crit damage reduction. So I hit you with my crit, it's going to be that 160% that we saw, 150 base plus 10, minus whatever their crit damage reduction is. If it's 100, it's not going to be, oh, now you deal 0. It's going to be my 160 minus 100, meaning 60% damage. To give you an idea there, that actually gets us down to the block. How block works is, also all these have colors on them. So if I just hit you and deal damage, the damage number is going to be white. If I crit you, it's going to be yellowish orange. If you block the damage, it's going to be grayed out. The other two, that green is obviously healing, and red is self-inflicted damage. That one doesn't come up a lot, but it does exist. So block is you attack me. Your block is the first one that activates. Opposite than before, where I'm attempting to crit you and you're attempting to reduce my chance of critting. That is the offense and defense. Flip it, I am attempting to block the damage that you're attacking me with. That is the start of the equation. Then you are trying to break through my block. So this is chance, very similar to crit. Chance of blocking damage. So you're attacking me, white number, white number, white number. Every attack you do, it's the chance of these things happening, and then block happens, and then once that happens, it's going to be the base block, which is 50%, plus my block damage reduction. So it's going to be base 50% plus whatever my reduction is. Let's say 10%, make it small numbers, make it easier. So it's going to be, I'm blocking 50% damage, 10 more, I'm blocking 60% of damage coming in, minus whatever their ignore block is. So the big thing that people run into nowadays is Ninja has base 70% block ignore. Let's say Water Ninja, which isn't very common, but this is the highest possible, will have 140% ignore block. It's going to be kind of hard to get yourself to enough block damage reduction for that to actually matter. Now, there's a second side of that, which is block recovery. This has gone through some changes. Before, it was uncapped. You could have over 100% block recovery, and you could be overhealing off of damage coming in. Now, it has a cap of 100%. So if you attack me for 100 damage, I take 100 damage, I trigger block, but you still deal 100, I will heal 100. Block recovery suppression is the opposite of that, right? So you have 100% block recovery, I have 10% block recovery suppression. I am reducing your 100% by 10%, which means you will now be healing for 90%. So it actually makes block recovery a little bit harder because you can't overcap to, like, 100% is the actual cap. You can't go above, assuming someone has suppression to bring it down and still have 100. Let's say even if you have 140, the game's going to read it as 100, and then I'm going to reduce it by 10. Even if that would technically make it 130, the game's going to read it as 90%. And the suppression is primarily going to come from your Dragon Research. Same for the crit damage reduction. Those are really hard to come by, but that's generally where you'll get them. Class advancements is where you're going to get some of this lower stuff like ignore block and things like that. We already talked about this. Damage increase, damage reduction, pierce rate, protection rate, HP steal rate. Damage increase, damage reduction, very straightforward. They're actually going to come in smaller numbers than a stat we'll talk about later on the next page. But it's going to be an increase of your damage. That's still going to happen in that big amalgamation time where I do all my multiplications. And then this is going to be something added on top of that. And then when I go to do damage to you, it's reduced by your damage reduction. This is primarily going to be, all four of these are going to be IO, Inscription Order, and Fate cards are going to be the best places to get these. They're also going to be seen in the best quantities in the star sign thing, where if you have higher star levels of your pets, they trigger a star sign and giving you bonus stats. These are stats that will show up in there. Pierce rate and protection rate is what we talked about before. So you have defense, and it's my attack minus your defense is the damage. That's already kind of a technical counter to each other, right? Well, pierce rate tries to counter the defense before your attack even hits. Pierce rate tries to pierce a percentage of their defense. And the opponent's protection rate reduces your pierce rate by that same percentage. So if I'm piercing you for 20%, that would be reducing your defense by 20%. But you have, like the screen right here, 5% protection rate. That reduces my 20% pierce rate to 15%. Now you're only losing 15% defense. Only, but still it's 15%. And it's not 15% the number, it's 15% total. And the last one right here, HP steal rate, which the explanation here has also changed several times, I think 3 times since I've been covering the game. Regenerate character's HP when dealing damage, and single target attack and group attack have different healing effect. It used to, the last iteration actually had the percentages in it, but when you see HP steal rate or life steal rate, you would assume, like League of Legends or other games, it is your chance to heal based off of damage, and then you will heal that. It's the percent of the damage you deal that you will heal. So you would think from other games, if you had 10% HP steal rate, you would heal 10% of the damage you deal all the time. No. This is your chance to trigger healing. And so 100% HP steal rate means 100% of the time you are going to heal based off the damage you deal. How much you're going to heal is, as it says right here, different based on single target and group attack. Single target is 40%. Group attack is 14%. So you're going to heal 14% of damage done. Most attacks and effects are AoE. So in general, you'll heal 14%. Very, very, very little things in the game are considered single target. So in general, you're going to be healing 14% of damage done. Going over to the next page. So we're going to see damage to boss increase, damage to boss reduction. Towards the bottom middle, damage to adventures increase, damage to adventures reduction. These are going to come in bigger numbers than the base damage increase we saw before. That is because this top one primarily PvE, this one primarily PvP. So because it's limited and where you can use it, because you're limited where you can use it, it's coming in bigger numbers. You will generally see like a 12 to 14% for a roll on a adventure increase, for example, whereas if it was just damage increase, it would be something like 6 or 7%. Those aren't exact numbers, but that is to give you an idea of what you would be looking at. They're generally about half of the numbers that you'll be seeing. Then we have the next section right there, which is all the elemental ones: fire, water, wind, earth. These are actually really easy to come by. You're going to get those for activating your echo. You're naturally going to have that. So if you build fire echo, you're naturally going to have percentages here for being things weak to fire. As well as the main ways to get extra of that is going to be from glyphs. You'll see all the glyphs will say like break, and then break or crit, and then under it it'll say 0.6% fire, point whatever earth. So you can build it out that way. Generally people don't care to go that deep into it. But that is how you get more of that. As far as the boss increase or adventure increase or decrease, it's going to be IOs, pets, treasures, equipment. Down here, this is actually going to be real big on treasures as well. Debuff mastery, debuff resistance. This is damage increase and damage reduction with requirements. Debuff mastery is extra damage you deal if the target is CC'd. If the target has debuffs. And then debuff resistance is a percent that you take less if you are currently under debuffs. So they are increase and decrease, but with steps. One heart and break free are also damage increase, damage reduction with steps. One heart is bonus damage you will deal if you're with a team. It's kind of hard to gauge the exact range they have to be in, but generally if they're on top of each other, they're going to count. And break free is damage. In this case, you're breaking free. Less damage you'll receive when there's extra opponents near you. Now, going into the last section down here, class damage increase and reduction, fairy damage increase or reduction. Class is your actual skills. If you use a sword skill, that's the sword class. This isn't specifically like that, but if you're like a sword in a book, whenever you use a sword skill or a book skill, they're both going to be considered class damage. And then increase minus reduction, and then flower fairy is going to be the same way. Flower fairy increase, flower fairy reduction. And those are primarily going to be from fairy grafting. You can get them from other sources, like Sung Jin Woo that we just got. During Dagger Rush, he can give you some class damage increase. But that's generally where you're going to find it. Formation attribute bonus, this is also sort of a newer thing. It's also going to be from the grafting, research, and just having a higher level echo, which this will be a bonus to the formation. The formation bonus stats that your fairy has, it's a % extra of that. And then the suppressions down here. Fire, water, wind, and earth are effectively this. Damage to monsters vulnerable to whatever, but only in the dragon areas. And then appearance suppression is a catch-all. It counts as each of them, but it works on everything. And fire, water, wind, earth you'll generally get by doing the dragon towers. And then appearance suppression you'll get primarily from not research, abyss, as well as you can get 240 with nightshade. Let me know what you guys